This is Out Loud and Laughing.
What is up, chosen fam? We are joined by a man who didn't just enter the room of queer cinema, he redesigned the floor plan. If you've ever laughed until it hurt at the absurdity of gay dating, or if you remember the exact moment independent queer film started feeling fun and fearless, you have this man to thank. He is the visionary behind the iconic Eating Out franchise, the creator of the trailblazing animated series Rick and Steve, and a director who has spent decades proving that our stories don't always have to be tragedies. They can be messy, hilarious, and unapologetically sexy. Please welcome the legendary Q Allan Brocka. Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Hello. Wow. What a intro. Thank you. You introduced me at parties like that.
Yeah,
Makes me feel
right.
super old, but like, wow, that's great.
Well, you definitely deserve your flowers, and we're so happy that you're here. But of course, before we dive into your filmography and the director's chair, how are you doing? Where are you based and what are you up to these days?
I'm based in Los Angeles. I'm doing pretty well. What I'm up to these days, I'm a host on a film that I shot in the Philippines. We're getting close to the end. We're close to locking picture. We're doing some animation for it. Uh, so yeah, that's what I'm up to now.
We're good,
How
Allan.
are you
We
all
have
doing?
been deep diving into all things Allan, your career, and your journey has been really fascinating, right? Because and we went all the way back. So, like, we know you were born in Guam and then you moved to Washington State. And we kind of want to, like, John and I are both Cuban American. So, growing up as a Filipino American, kind of all navigating identity. Like, what I want to kind of start with, like, what was the spark that made
Yeah.
you realize that you want to tell stories, right? Was there a specific movie or moment where you realized, I don't see myself on screen or I don't feel my representation?
Well, yeah, I was growing up in Guam. And, I was like 11 or 12, and I loved movies at the time. And I
Mm,
learned what a director was. So this is the 1980s, like a really long time ago. I learned what a director it was from something on PBS, and, I didn't know there was that kind of a job, someone like who created stories. And I knew immediately that that's what I wanted to do. I started making films with just neighbor kids, with a big
love it.
giant VHS camera. And it was a giant. It was probably this big, and it didn't even have the tape. So this was the camera. Then I had another thing that held the VHS tape in it, and then
Yeah.
a third thing was the battery. So it was me running around with these two giant pieces of equipment on me and a camera on my shoulder at 12, making these movies. Um, and even editing them, it was just VCR to VCR, so there'd be like a roll of static in between every single cut. They were really, really kind of grungy films, but, I loved it, and I knew that that's what I wanted to do. The first films I started making, were just kinda knockoffs of what I liked. So at the time, I loved the shows, The Twilight Zone and Amazing Stories, and then, this comedy sketch show on Nickelodeon called You Can't Do That on Television. So I
Yeah.
would do my own sketch shows and my own, like, mystery things. It wasn't till later that I kinda found my voice, but one thing that I noticed right off the top while I was making these is, I was living in Guam, so everyone in my movies
Hmm.
was brown. Like, we were all brown, but no one in any of our programming was. The first
Mhm.
anyone even like me was the Goonies, was the character Data on the Goonies, and, like, we don't look anything similar, but he looked way more like me and all of my friends than anyone else I'd seen in the films ever, and so that's when I started wanting to see more of people like me.
Did you ever get in out from the other side of the camera? Were you ever acting or doing things like that? I read somewhere that you had.
Yeah, sometimes. So, once I came here and got into film school and, started making movies, in my undergraduate in my undergraduate, schooling, I studied a lot of acting, mostly so I'd know how to talk to actors, but during that, I was in plays and had to do some acting. In high school, I was in the drama club and did acting there. I don't think I was ever great, but it wasn't really my goal. It was to understand that experience so that I could, work with actors better, and it was an amazing experience. It's fun. I still I did like voice acting in Rick and Steve, and that I enjoy. Being on camera, like seeing your face move and hearing your
Doesn't do it
voice.
for you.
You just can't, like the small cameos I've done, I can barely handle getting through them. So but it does really feed my respect to actors for what they do, and just being able to see their bodies as instruments and work them to give us the emotions that we feel when we watch them. I have so much respect for that.
I'm such a strong believer in whatever field it is that you work in to get a good understanding holistically of that's involved so that you can really work collaboratively through compassion and empathy. My question to you though, Alan, is does that performer energy that you once had still live inside you when you're perhaps directing, or maybe some of that empathy that you remember?
It's super, super helpful because you can speak to actors in their own language.
Mm,
You realize, even just as a writer reading the script, you write it as a writer and then you start reading it as a director. But I also read it as an actor, because they're going to come to me with a lot of questions, and I want to have the answers to those questions. I want to have thought of those. Any information they're going to need to make these. And I write pretty zany, weird things, and trying to ground those into reality can be difficult. So
yeah,
trying to find that real moment that takes this weird, bizarre sex joke that I thought of and makes it somehow feel real, is that's part of the acting process. And being able to have that conversation with the actor, just like, why would I ever do that? you
yeah.
know, well,
Right.
because it's funny is not a good answer.
Alan, we have to talk about eating out. And the reason why is we have our OG Jim Barars, who
Okay.
has come on the pod many times, and we love him. But I have to say,
Yes.
from being when I was 22, I moved to LA, and I remember getting eating out in my Netflix when it was DVDs coming in the
Mhm.
mail, right? And it was one
Yep.
of the,
Yep.
which is crazy because I'm aging myself now too. It's been 20 years since that first movie kind of changed the landscape, at least for me, for gay rom-coms. And at that time, queer cinema was often very heavy or experimental. And I feel like you came out with something that felt like an MTV Spring Break movie, but for us, right? And so, like, looking back, what is one thing about that
Yeah.
era or that project that you're really most proud of?
Honestly, I'm really proud of the response to it because, I mean, it's not the best made movie. It had the tiniest, it was $43,000. We shot it in 10 days in the desert, with nobody who had any
I
experience
love that
in
though.
any department. Like all of us were people
Amazing.
doing all of our jobs for the first time, and it shows. But yeah, at the time, it was something I wanted to see. In the 80s and 90s, I called them college sex comedies, like Revenge of the Nerds, American Pie, where people are kind of coming of age and having these sexual experiences for the first time. Um, but I never felt included in them, and whenever there was any kind of representation of someone who might be queer or was insinuated as queer, it was, like, disgusting. It was the butt of the joke, or, something gay happening to a straight person was the most disgusting, grossest thing that could happen to them. So that's kind of where the idea of this came from. I was like, "What if there was one of those for us? And what if rather than something gay happening to a straight guy, because
Hmm.
that's what happens in the first movie
Yes.
is actually a straight guy at the center of it.
Yeah.
What if instead
So
of that
good.
being the grossest thing ever, what if he was okay with it? And it's not because he's a closeted gay person, it's because it was a good experience. And so that's where the seed of that started. And I wrote it completely as a joke in my screenwriting class. I was going to film school and I had to write a feature screenplay every semester. So I wrote like the three dramatic ones that I really wanted to tell, none of which were made. And then this one, I was like, well, I'm just going to write a joke one. I'm never going to try to make it. I really wanted to write it just to make people read uh,
Good.
queer sex scenes in class. I was like, I don't know, make it
Yeah.
really graphic and read them in class. It'd be fun. You know,
I'm obsessed with that.
people liked reading it. They loved reading the pages every week. The biggest compliment I got was when the straight guy who was reading the role of Caleb in the first one, a straight guy gets,
Yes. Oh,
can I
yeah.
say oral sex or what?
Yeah, you could say it all here.
He
Right.
gets a
A
blowjob
blow
from a gay
Yeah.
guy while being talked through it on the phone with a girl he likes, right? So, So that was a scenario I came up with, and it's like a 17-minute scene of this of this happening. And that was the first scene I wrote of the screenplay.
Sure.
And the greatest compliment I got was a straight guy reading that scene afterwards said, "I could see that happening. Yeah, I'd go for that." It's like, that's what I'm going for.
Immediately
So they
turned
asked me
on.
to write it. I continued writing it until it was a full feature, and then put it away. Never planned to make it until a few years later when the opportunity came up. I met a producer who was like, "Do you have a script that has full frontal nudity in it and can be made for
I do.
$43,000?"
As a
I
matter of
do.
fact, I do.
There
Yeah.
wasn't nudity in it. I added it so that we
I mean,
could
given the
so that it would
content, it probably
fulfill what he
wasn't
was looking
too hard
for.
to write some of that in.
No, it wasn't, and for me, that really worked because in all of the movies that I was kind of modeling, there were always like
You're right.
just
Yes.
gratuitous shots of boobs, right?
Right.
Like they're always in there, and I was like, "Well, that's our boobs.
Yes,
Like we're gonna
absolutely.
throw a
I
couple
mean,
of
I
dicks
feel
in
like
there."
it started to
Those are our
unravel a
boobs.
little bit in a good way where things like Another Gay Movie came out, and you start to see other things in cinema that were like, to your point, very sex positive, very realistic in a very cheeky way. But did you have any idea this might become a cult classic? Because like 20 years later, I still remember this movie.
Mhm.
No, honestly, I thought we would play in some gay festivals, and that was it. Um, we ended up playing in over 100 festivals. We won a bunch of prizes. We became the best-selling LGBTQ title 3 years in a row for just that
Wow.
movie. Um, so like the DVD days were great because there was a way for a tiny budget film like that to be able to make its money, um, its money back. Over the course of I never imagined I'd
Mhm.
make 4 more of them ever. Like, on the set, we would joke. We made a couple of jokes. "Oh, if there's a sequel, we'll call it Sloppy Seconds." Never thinking it was actually gonna happen.
Well, okay, but now we're gonna ask the question that our chosen family has been screaming in our ears since we announced that you were coming on, but is there a world where we see a sequel or a legacy reboot of Eating Out? Like maybe the old characters come back?
Well,
What's happening there?
there is a world, I don't know if we're living in it, but I definitely wanna make it. I have a amazing idea for it, uh, and it would bring back a lot of cast from the first 5. But, funding is an issue, and like I mentioned earlier about the DVDs, it is really tough to make any money back now. When you make an indie project, basically the way you make your money back is selling it to one streamer, and that one streamer for a project like this is not gonna pay enough for the budget, and that's it. Otherwise, you are, like, begging people to pay for a link, which is a lot of work.
Give it to one of your stars, Jim Veraris. He'll just run with it. You know what I mean? I'm just joking. He loves.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I there's definitely a place for Jim in this. I've got a way to bring him back from the dead. The character that I
listen,
Yeah.
mentioned was killed off in 3, but
Alan, not to toot our own horn, but I mean, we do get like people published and stuff here. So maybe this might land in the right hands. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
no, we don't need a huge budget. We just need like
No, no.
a little budget.
43,000. Well, with inflation, 83,000, but y'all get the gist.
Right. Yeah, yeah. No, it'd have to be a little bit more. One
Of
thing that
course.
became harder making them is when you're making a part 2 or a part 4 or a part 5, then people are like, well, someone's making money. Like you can't keep paying
Right.
people those tiny amounts. And honestly, we really weren't making that much money. They kind
Mm.
of barely made it helped us make the next one.
It's like walking into a florist and asking for a bouquet for a funeral or a
Yeah.
wedding. The prices change drastically. But anyhow,
I
I
mean, Alan, I
digress.
think it's interesting because you've made these amazing movies that are called classics, but then you also kind of transition into animation with the Rick and Steve project. And I guess my question is like, why animation? Did it allow you to like say things that you feel like live action actors might have been too scared to do? Like, what did it enable you to do?
Kind of. One of the things animation I started animating with Legos when I was a kid making those films, And part of that was because, like, just honestly, director control, like getting neighborhood kids, like, we didn't always want to do what I wanted them to do. I could just make these things do whatever I wanted to do. Then when I came here in film school, my first year of film school, I had a class where we had to make a short film about relationships, the idea. And I was like, well, I want to make, I'm going to do a gay relationship, but I just moved here. I didn't have any friends or know anybody. So I did a stop motion animation piece. Um, that was Rick and Steve, the happiest gay couple in all the world, made out of Legos. So there's an original 8-minute version before the logo TV series, and that was just made as an assignment. And where I was with that was I wanted to make a what if there was a sitcom with a queer family at the center, because the only representation I'd seen of us on television was just as these either lonely people or super slutty people who didn't deserve to have a family. And I'm like, well, you know,
Mm.
what about a family? What if it was just a gay family at the center? And so that's kind of where that started. I just started writing the show that I wanted to see. I did this 8-minute short out of Legos, also pretty really clumsily animated if you ever see it. Um, and just planned to show it in class, didn't know it would go beyond that. Someone at our school said, hey, you should submit this to Outfest. I didn't know what Outfest was. It's a LGBTQ film festival in Los Angeles. He's like, well, I'll just
Oh,
bring the tape over to them. And I was like, sure. And he's like, hey, they're going to play it. They'll reach out to you. I was like, oh, cool. Great. I was expecting it to be in a gym at a high school. I just moved here and didn't know anything about it. Um, but it was at the Directors Guild. There were people
amazing.
I recognized in the audience, like famous people. I ended up winning the audience award there, and a programmer from Sundance came up and asked if he could show it. So it premiered at Sundance 2000. So I made that actually before the Eating Out movies. And then I started doing film festivals with that, and I just started making episodes of it every year. So we had 4 of them by 2003. And then I started pitching it as a show, and I lucked out and pitched it to Brian Graydon, who had just started the Logo Network, and he greenlit it right from the pitch. I
Mm,
didn't realize that never happens. I was
that
like,
was
"Oh,
easy.
okay, that's how TV happens." So we went into development for a couple of years, and then it premiered in 2006, and that was the story of Rick and Steve. So Eating Out happened during, like, the journey of Rick and Steve, so it wasn't really a move from animation. The animation was just coming along with live action.
I just have to say, your homework
It's
projects
doing
are
wonders,
insane, and
clearly. Yeah.
I need to go back to film school. I can
honestly. And then also, you speak about representation and making the
Mhm,
shows that you wanted to see and how important that was. We're talking at this point 25 years ago.
mhm,
Um, you know, and being a gay man in the industry has also changed so much, and in the workplace, you've
mhm.
seen this shift from indie niche to mainstream representation. So how have you protected your creative voice over the years? And have you ever felt pressure to sanitize your work for a broader audience, or have you always been a radical honesty kind of creator?
A little bit of all of it. Like, I think we all go through these periods where we're questioning, like, well, do I wanna tell the story I wanna tell, or do I want a
Facts.
job, right? So, I don't wanna get
Fair,
paid.
fair.
So it is a constant struggle. And when the first Rick and Steve short got into Sundance, I got a ton of meetings, and, I had those scripts that I had written in my screenwriting class, not Eating Out, but the other ones. Um, but they all had like queer Filipino kids and things in the lead roles. And I one meeting I had on a Fox lot with a production company just kind of traumatized me forever. At the end of the meeting, the guy said to me, he well, no, it didn't. In the meeting, he said, I read the script. Your character is Filipino and gay. And if all of the gay Filipinos in the United States watch this movie, you'd never make your money back. So who is it for? It's just for you. Uh, so you want to make something that's for everyone. pick one, because you're already asking too much of people. So pick one, make him gay or make him Filipino. And that really affected my work after that. I was like, well, if I could only pick one, I guess I'll pick gay because there's nothing gay right now, as opposed to Asian. There's like a whole country of the Philippines that's making Filipino cinema. So maybe I'll do that. And it was a really tough thing to navigate for me, back I was young and trying to figure myself out. Um, so that was pretty horrible. But that really informed me for a little bit. And then I just was like, these are too hard to get made. And I'm still not, the budgets are so tiny. I'm just going to
Yeah.
make what I want to make. Oh, so screw it. I'm going to, I'm going to make, I'm going to make Rick
He's
is
going to check all the
Filipino. He's
boxes.
going to, that is it. He's going to have a Filipino, gay uncle. And it's just going to be, that's how it's going to be.
I think it's
Yeah.
smart, Allan.
So
I think you
I don't,
this is why the reason why your content's so great, right? And why you're doing really cool stuff. And so before we transition to our famous game that we play on this podcast, I just want to learn, like, what are you working on right now? Like, what's on your plate? What's some cool shit that we can expect hopefully in the near future?
Sure. I'm in post right now on this feature film. It's a romantic comedy that I shot in the Philippines with a transmasculine lead, and it is about a trans guy who kind of escaped the Philippines because his family was not that accepting. He moves to Canada, and it takes place 10 years later. He's trying to change the gender marker on his Canadian passport and realizes he needs to get his original birth
Mm,
certificate, which means going back to the small village where he was born and not out to anyone. So his plan is to sneak in and out. He brings his girlfriend with him. They're going to sneak in and out, grab this thing, and be on the way. But the when he gets there, the COVID lockdown happens. So, they end up
Whoa.
stuck there, and it ends up coming out to everybody, and it's a lot different than he thought it might be. So it's an uplifting, fun, romantic comedy, with a transmasculine Filipino lead, and there hasn't ever been one. So I'm really excited about it. There's some animated bits that we're working on now. Um, and I'm actually meeting with our composer tomorrow to do score. So we're getting close to the end, and hopefully we'll be doing
love
film
that.
festivals with it next year. It's called Love in Lockdown.
We're looking for it. And it sounds like you finally picked one. And I love that you chose the Filipino trans positive male actor. And I also just wanted to give you a couple more flowers around telling immigrant stories. I think in this country, especially during these days, that's so
Mm,
important to be aware of what it is to be a human being crossing
Mhm,
borders, but then also human beings crossing genders. So thank you.
mhm.
I've loved this deep dive. I know Brian has too, but here at Out Loud and Laughing, we have this tradition. So here's the deal. We've looked at your scripts, we've seen your films, and we know that you're not afraid of the nitty gritty. So it's time to put down the director's megaphone, okay? And you're going to step
Okay.
into the hot seat. We call this or that, the director's cut edition.
It's time for another round of this or that, the unhinged get to know you game.
Okay.
All right, I'm kicking off today. Are you eating out at a restaurant or eating in home cooked? See what we did there?
Well, I want to be eating out at a restaurant, but I can afford to eat home.
Girl, you and I both. Let's
No, I
preach.
don't know. Like,
Uh,
so I am eating in,
well,
but
that's
it's because
true
it's so
words.
expensive.
we just, yeah, truer words. We just
There
put
you
it into
go.
go containers and leave it outside our
Feels
front door and
special.
then go get it. So it feels like it's to go, but we really
Okay,
make it.
Allan, do you
Yeah, it
prefer a
feels nice.
high budget drama or a low budget comedy? Yes,
Low
same.
budget comedy. Absolutely.
All day. Um, okay, we ask this to all of our guests. We love this question. Scruff or no scruff?
Scruff.
A little mix with
Grr,
the
I love
hair. I
it.
like it. Okay, do you prefer a butt or a chest?
Uh,
Like a good defined
a
chest?
chask.
Like good defined chest with
Huh?
scruff?
No, I think it need scruff or not.
Yeah.
I did putting scruff here. Um, I don't know. Chest will catch my eye. Butts just don't catch my eye as much, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm super happy they're there. Don't get me wrong. But if I had to pick,
Summer is here
Are
down where
out.
I am, and the chests are out. They are out. I love it. But you are somewhere sunny too. So do you like the LA sun or Pacific Northwest rain?
the LA sun for sure. I
You're
used to
Really?
live in the
Good.
Pacific Northwest rain. It was,
Okay.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
no.
well, it depends, I
It's
guess.
depressing.
I like being inside. I'm a hermit crab,
It
so I
is.
enjoy it. Okay, Allan, do you prefer, and this question, we get like very visceral reaction. Do you prefer a shower or a bath?
A shower.
Very quick to answer. Love that.
Oh, yeah. I don't even know the last time I took a bath.
Are you repulsed
Yeah.
by them?
It's just too much work.
Oh,
See?
I think you just sit in your filth for a while. And
there
you're like,
it
well,
is.
how long
Is
do I
it
sit here?
over?
When is it over? And then you
Allan, the
shower.
point is to relax.
Alan, you can choose. Yeah. You get to pick when it's over. I love it. Alan, you strike me as a very highly adept and baseball player. In the game of baseball, are you pitching or catching?
I am in the outfield. I used to play, I was forced to play T-ball as a kid, and I would strike out. It would sitting there in the tee. Like,
Okay.
so I like being way out in the outfield where like the ball never came and I would just stand there. But in this scenario, I don't know. I guess I like pitching because you have more control. I do
like that.
like,
Director.
you know, pitching more.
Director energy.
Since- Director, exactly. Director energy.
Are you an
Yeah.
early morning set call or a late night shoot kind of guy? Same.
Early morning. I love getting up early.
But that's because we're old now, and I don't know
Yeah,
why. Early bird.
productive. Mhm.
Oh, you,
But
you
I
like
also like
both.
staying up late. Yeah, I like staying up
Dang.
late, but not to work, just to like dance
fuck
or
around.
eat, right? Something like that.
You're my kind of people. All right, Alan, this is our last one.
Okay.
Do you want to be remembered for your humor or your advocacy?
My advocacy for sure.
And you could do that through humor, I think.
Well,
That's
I mean,
what
that's
you've
my
been
whole
doing.
plan. That's my whole plan. Like,
That's what
my
you've
whole
been
thing has
doing.
been like, yeah, just uplifting LGBTQ stories. That's what I'm excited about. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to provide for other people. I think when people are laughing, they can connect. When we can see each other as human. You know, I want people to know that you can laugh with us. We're happy to laugh with you. It doesn't always have to be serious and deadly. You know, we have a lot of stress. We have a lot of horrible things happening to us. But we can also have a trans rom-com
100%.
in these times, right?
Mhm. Alan, this has been such an absolute masterclass, and we wanted to thank you for being a pioneer and for continuing to make us laugh and think at the same time. You are now officially part of the Chosen Fam
Allan,
forever.
where
So
can
thanks for
everyone
coming
find
on.
you, follow your journey, find your movies?
Sure. At Instagram is probably the best place. Is Allan Brocka, ALLAN BROCKA. It's just at Allan Brocka. I'm also on Facebook. It's the same name.
Love it.
But those are the two places I hang out.
We will be watching and laughing. So thank you for listening, Chosen Fam. Stay loud, stay laughing, and keep supporting queer creators. We'll see you next week.
This was Out Loud and Laughing.
We're available everywhere you get your podcasts. Spotify, Apple, YouTube, iHeart, or wherever.